Let's go ahead and get started. All right, I want to welcome everyone. My name is Carl Holman. I'm the communications manager here at Admortgage. Want to welcome you to today's webinar. The topic is saying yes to foreign national borrowers. Today's speaker is Lucy Mantilla. She's one of our wholesale account managers. We'll go ahead and get started really quickly with the etiquette. Again, as we've done in the past webinars, the chat function is muted. Your microphones are muted until we get to the Q&A session. So we ask you to either type your questions into the Q&A function or wait till we get through the formal part of the presentation, raise your hands, and then we'll enable your microphones. So again, I will turn it over here to Lucy. She's our wholesale account executive. She is highly knowledgeable in this subject, so I hope you look forward to hearing all of the wonderful things that she's going to tell you about foreign nationals. Okay, take it away, Lucy.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here and have the opportunity to talk to you about the foreign national programs under our non-QM portfolio. Let's start who we are. Admortgage is a full-service direct mortgage lender, servicer of conventional, government, and non-QM loans based in Florida since 2005. Our wholesale goal is to bring our products and programs to select brokers in order to provide them with a wider platform to serve their clients. Admortgage, next. Admortgage is expanding. Oops. Okay, Admortgage is expanding nationwide rapidly. We give you the opportunity to do business purpose loans in 40 states where you don't have a license. A lot of brokers already are taking opportunity of this, doing loans in other states for business purposes. I have brokers that they have license in Florida, but they are doing loans in Georgia, California, New York, just to mention some states, for their clients that are investors. What is a foreign national? A foreign national is a non-US citizen authorized to live in the US on a temporary basis, but does not meet the definition of a non-permanent resident alien. Next. One of the keys of our foreign national programs, we can go up to 80% LTV. The borrower is not subject to have a US credit. We can do loans up to 30 million. Under the DACR, we allow ratios of 0%. We allow reserves to be overseas, and we allow gift funds. We have two types of programs, the full doc. Under the full doc, we can go 80% LTV. And as an income, what we need is a letter from the accountant or CPA overseas stating the income for the last 2 years and the year to date. The DTI for this program is 43%. The other requirement is a bank reference, indicating that the account has been open for 2 years, is active, and a good standing. We require the borrower to have passport and visa, valid visa and passport. Assets, we require assets to be seasoned and sourced for 60 days. However, we don't require that the assets needs to be in the US bank account for 60 days. The borrower can wire the money from his overseas bank account to the title agent, or they can wire the money to his US bank account a few days before closing. Under the DACR, the max LTV we go is 75% when the DACR ratio is 1% or higher. On the 1003, we don't require to have income or employment information. What we require for foreign nationals under DACR program is to provide that they own any property within the last 24 months. If the property is overseas, they need to provide a letter from the accountant overseas stating that they own a property. Next. What are the benefits that Admortgage offers? One, allow gifts after 20% own funds. The gift can be done by, can be given by a relative. We also allow business assets. We allow, as I mentioned to you, to keep the reserves that we require, that is 12 months reserve, overseas. When the DACR ratio is less than 1%, we go LTV 70%. And the cash out can be used for reserves. We require 12 months reserves for foreign national loans. This is a great opportunity for foreign nationals to become investors in the US. We welcome borrowers from all countries. However, for Venezuelans, we do those under the DACR program only. For purchases, the LTV is 60% and for cash out is 55%. We allow to close under a personal name or under a LLC. Another feature that borrowers can take advantage if the LTV is 65% is to use the 2% finance points into the loan, which doesn't affect the rate at the LTV of 65%. The properties that we allow for foreign nationals as well, and the condo hotels, no warrantable condos and short-term rentals. I have a loan scenario that we closed recently for a foreign national. The borrower was from Italy. He purchased a property that it was a short-term rental property in Orlando, Florida. We financed 70% of that property under a DACR. The DACR ratio was 1%, and he got a gift from a relative for 10% to complete the 30% down payment. He closed under LLC, and the reserves were overseas. So we didn't require him to have the 12 months reserve in a US bank account. He didn't have to provide visa because Italy is one of the countries that are in the ESTA list. Therefore, it was just the passport. And we closed the transaction in 32 days. How you can close more foreign national loans. As you have seen, we have advertising in several occasions, our AD studio, where you can find marketing material that can be customized for your company. And also we provide you a sample letters under our website. As you see there, there is one just dedicated for all sample letters that are needed. The other tools that you can take advantage is the quick pricer that it's on our website to price the loan for foreign nationals. The appraisal center that we have support group to help you to order the appraisals, and the AD studio for customize your marketing material.
Great, thanks, Lucy. As she mentioned, we've got all those platforms. We also do an ongoing webinar series every Tuesday at this time. So our upcoming, two of our upcoming webinars do cover those platforms. The appraisal centers on the 22nd, AD Studio will be on the 29th. Next week, we'll be doing a deep dive on bank statements. So we'll be covering all those, and we'll be announcing the April ones uh, probably at next week's webinar. Otherwise, you can keep an eye out on our website and our social media channels, which you can find those here. So we do have locations on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and a platform called Telegram that's similar to WhatsApp. And you can download that and get all the updates kind of on an ongoing basis. And we also have we're participants in 2 exchange groups on LinkedIn and on Facebook called Non-QM Exchange. So you'll be able to interact with your peers. You can put loan scenarios up there if you have questions about, hey, can you do a DSCR loan for a foreign national with a X%? If you aren't already working with us, you can post them over on the exchanges as well. And with that, we can go over to the Q&A session. So if you guys would like to start putting your questions over in the chat feature, we'll go for it. There are questions about the presentation itself. We don't send out the presentation, but we are recording this webinar, and it's available usually within 24 hours. It may even be up before 5 o'clock Eastern today. It's admortgage.com/learning-center. The Learning Center is available from the main page on the resources tab. And you'll get tomorrow a message from the Zoom email system that will contain another link to the recording here. So, okay, so someone was asking if we're AD Mortgage or &D Mortgage. Technically, we're both. We just, depending on the visual use of our logo, we don't use the ampersand, but legally we are both. Legally, the company is &D Mortgage LLC. So, okay. All right, Lucy, we've got a question from Nancy. So it's for foreign nationals, 2 products, the DSCR and full doc, at least 20% owned funds, and the rest can be gifted.
It can be gifted for down payment or for cash to close. Reserves must be borrowed on funds. But as I mentioned, the reserves sometimes they don't require to have those in the US. But if they're doing a cash out, the proceeds of the cash out can be used for those 12 months reserves.
Great. Can you see the questions, Lucy? I can't remember.
No, I can't see it.
Okay. Okay, so we have a question from Derek. Where do I get a list of the countries that we can do business with in terms of foreign national loans? Because some lenders currently are obviously not doing business with Russia. So do we provide a list of those countries?
As right now, we do all countries. We don't have restrictions. Only I mentioned Venezuelans for LTV. That's it.
Okay. I don't think we have a posted list of ESTA countries. That might be something we could.
Oh, the ESTA countries?
Yeah, for the ESTA countries.
On the website, and I guess I put a link on the presentation. There is a website for ESTA visa waivers. You can Google it as a visa waiver, and you can find it on the internet.
Okay.
But that's basically the whole list right now.
Okay, so I will update one of the emails that comes out to you folks tomorrow. I'll find the link for the ESTA countries and send it included in that. Okay, we have a question from Taesong Kim. Do you offer foreign national loans for primary or secondary?
Investment properties only. That's a good question.
Okay. All right, question from Ruben. I know this is different from non-permanent residents, but can we do a deep dive on the ITN loan programs? We've gotten a request on the ITIN loan programs, and that is a topic we're considering doing a deeper dive on in the future.
We don't offer ITIN programs right now.
Oh, that's right. That's the individual tax network. Okay. All right, and we answered Rob's question about loans not being offered for primary residences. How many months of reserves are required?
12 months.
Okay. And we do not do these for, we do not do these for purchase.
What could?
There's a question from Nancy was about 20% owned fund. The rest. Yeah, so we do not, do we do purchase loans under the foreign national program?
Yes, purchase loans, yes. Only investment purchases.
Okay. How many months of reserves we covered? Any foreign national program as owner occupied primary residence. Borrowers have been in the US for 2 years and have been working as W-2 for 2 years.
That will be considered a non-permanent residence problem, probably if they don't have a green card yet. Some borrowers that are under asylum, we can do those loans under the non-QM program, a non-permanent resident program.
Okay. Yisa Share is asking for a little bit more elaboration on the person being in the country for a temporary basis.
Temporary basis is based on the I-94. Usually they allow them to be here for 6 months usually, and after 6 months, if they have to extend it. Otherwise, I think that's the maximum time period, depending. It's 6 months. The I-94 will state for how many months when they entry to the United States, it will be stamped on that form.
Okay. Derek's asking if we do credit pulls for any of these DSCR loans. Or sorry,
we put credit for foreign nationals if they don't have Social Security, because we have run in situations where foreign nationals has been here before as students and they have Social Security numbers. So in those situations, the broker can pull credit for them, but otherwise, when you submit the loan, Admortgage will pull credit.
Do we accept POA when it's time for the closing? If the borrower is
that's
not
a
here in
good
the
question.
US?
We allow remote closings on the run. We have a specific procedure how to do those closings remotely with foreign nationals. But we do allow no POA, only for US citizens of permanent residents. But for foreign nationals, we have a platform to do remote closings.
Okay. And can you elaborate a little bit more on what the visa waiver means?
Visa waiver means that there is a agreement between countries that they don't require to have a visa per se, just a permission. They just authorize a permission to come to the US. So they don't have to have a visa. They just use a waiver, that is a document that before entering to the United States, they go online and I think they pay like $20 and they can come but they are considered foreign nationals because as well, they will give them certain time, a temporary time that they can be in the US legally. But they don't have to go to the embassy, US embassy, and require a visa. It's something that is an agreement between the United States and other countries to allow entry of their citizens, but they require to have that type of document. They can find more information on the internet about that if they want to.
Okay, great. And we've got a really interesting question from Asan. What are the requirements under the non-resident foreign national primary owner occupied? He's got clients, I guess, that are on asylum and been working in the US for 2 years as W-2s.
Okay, that will be on another subject, but I can tell you that won't be foreign national. That will be a non-permanent resident that we do loans for primary residence. And if the credit score is 700 and above, you can do 90% LTV and you can do a full doc or you can use bank statements.
Right. Do we allow for a POA, which would be a U.S. citizen?
POA is only for US citizens or permanent residents.
Okay. Income documentation. What kind of income documentation do we require?
More specific in terms of one program in a specific or in general?
It's just, it doesn't indicate either. So do you want to just go back and touch upon those on the?
No, that's okay. Basically what they need is to have valid visa and passport. They need to have one bank reference letter. And depending if it's a full doc, it will be the accountant letter stating the income for the last 2 years and the year to date. Or if it's under the DACR, we require the borrower to prove that they own a property.
Okay.
And 60 days assets, I'm sorry.
Okay. And then why do we require a CPA letter when they live in a foreign country?
Because we don't ask for what we call here tax returns. We don't require that type of documentation. We only want from an accountant, which will be the person, because in most of the country, and I guess all the countries, and somehow you have to pay taxes, and that will be the person that will be able to testify that what kind of income or how much income you make overseas. That's what we have, those two options. Because if it's for a country that you can now have an accountant, you can do the loan under the DACR. But if you want to do a full doc, we require to have a letter from the accountant. Or if the person is a wage earner, can be for the human resources department for the company that they work for.
Got a question. What if a Venezuelan client is living and working in Abu Dhabi? Would they be able to do a?
That's a good question. We can do that using the regular full national foreign national programs. So there is no restrictions on LTV as far as the Venezuelan borrower resides in a different country than Venezuela.
Oh, this is an interesting question. Have we ever handled using cryptocurrency, possibly in exchange, or use it for reserves?
No, it has to be in the, they can cash the cryptocurrency, but it has to be in a bank account just as cash value. No, the exchange currency.
Okay. This goes back to the non-permanent resident program, but annual reserve requirements for the non-permanent residents to purchase a primary owner occupied.
3 months reserves.
Okay. For the foreign national DSCR with the LTV of 75%, do we need a condo questionnaire?
You need a condo questionnaire. Good question. That would be a full review. And you will need a condo questionnaire. You will need reserves. Our reserves are 8%. And you will be, the underwriter will be asking for the SSRs on all that requirements for full condo questionnaire. 70%, it will be limited review.
This is actually a great question. I didn't even think about this, but do the documents need to be translated to English, like the bank statements?
That's
letters,
a very good question
letters?
that I missed to mention. Thank you for that question. Yes, documents needs to be translated by a certified translator if the documents are not written in English.
Okay. And then Ruben, you have a question and following up about non-permanent residences. He has clients that have ITIN and that the credit report is tied to the ITIN, and they own a home for 10 years plus, or been in country, and have been taxpayers for years. Any way we could do without valid visa or an I-797?
If the borrower does not have a social security number, we can now have a loan for them at this moment. The only way to do it is when you have a social security number, and then we just need to discuss what the status is if they are not green card holders. We can do a non-QM, but definitely if the person does not have a social security number and resides in the US, and only have an IT number, at this moment, we don't have program.
That's the last of the current questions. Do you have any more questions out there, folks? Got a lot of really good ones here so far. More questions. All right, let's give it one more minute. If there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Oh, here's one more. Regarding the translation, who would translate the who could translate the documents?
A certified translator. The borrower can have a certified translator in their own country, or there are several certified translators in the US that can do that.
But they can't submit the documents to us and then us go out and find the translator for them.
That's correct.
Okay. Right. If there is no bank account in the USA, can they open remotely?
There is a bank that opens remote bank accounts to foreign nationals. Sinuvus Bank is doing it because I have talked to other brokers that they have been able to help the borrowers to open accounts. And there are, I forgot right now, another broker that told me there is another bank that is opening, but not remotely. Only I know the Sinuvus Bank.
Okay. How can a foreign national get a social security number?
Well, that far I cannot go because I don't know. We have had foreign nationals, as I said, that stay in the US before years ago as a student, and they were able to obtain a social security number. So, but I don't know how they got it.
Was the name of that bank that you had mentioned Synovis?
Yeah.
SYNUVIS.
Yes, I think it is. Yeah.
Okay. And then could you elaborate again on the bank reference letter that's needed?
Okay, the bank reference letter, if the borrower already has a bank account in the US, it will be easier for you because you don't need to get a translation and save money on that. But that is a simple letter that the bank, and we have sample letters, as I mentioned in our website. It's just to say when the account was opened. We need to make sure that the account is active and the borrower has maintained in good standing that account. We don't need to know how much is the current balance, but at least we need to know when it was opened. But usually has the balance in each account, but that's not the main thing. For us, the important part for the underwriter is to know that the person has a good relationship with the financial institution, at least for the last 24 months.
Okay. Can they have the funds in the US?
The funds in the US? Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if the funds is in the US and they're not seasoned and sourced for 60 days in the US, it's fine. They can provide the bank statements overseas that cover the last 60 days.
Okay. All right, so without a social security number, they cannot do a foreign national loan?
No. Foreign nationals don't require social security number. What I'm saying is they were asking if we pull credit. Yes, we pull credit. When you fill out the application, obviously it's asking for a social security number and it won't let you export if in that a specific box. You don't put some information. So you can just use 1111. You can use 999, any number that you want. But no. I'm sorry for that misunderstanding. The foreign national, sometimes they have Social Security. I don't know how they get it. It's not that common to see that. But usually the broker just create a number, fictitious number, to be able to complete that part of the application. But no, we don't require foreign nationals to have Social Security number.
Someone's asking about the current interest rates for an 80% LTV full doc foreign national loan.
Let me get into the quick pricer because, be honest, but it will be on the, let me see, because rates changes every day. So let me try to do a quick pricer here.
And there've been while you're looking, there've been a couple questions about the spelling of that bank. We'll look that up and send it out in the email that you guys will get tomorrow as well. Up here it is actually.
Interest rate, it will be for a foreign national, foreign income, investment property, a purchase, the LTV 80% with no FICO score. For a single family resident, it will be 7.375, 30-year fixed with 5 years prepayment penalty.
Thank you. Someone found the name of that bank. It is Synovus, and for those of you, the spelling of it is SYNOV as in Victor, US. Okay, and then there's a question about if Chase can offer a certificate of deposit as a bank reference.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as has been offered for 24 months. And yeah, and it's from a financial institution, that would be fine.
Okay, any more questions out there? Thank you, Yasashir, for sending us the link for the bank. I'll include that to the rest of the participants. All right. I don't give people one more minute to think, see if they got any last minute questions. If not, we will wrap up. Oh, here comes one more. I'll send out a link, Osmani. They're asking about the video. All of our webinars are recorded and available on the admortgage.com website. And if you go to resources and then AD Learning Center, everything will be there. But again, we'll be sending out a link to this in the emails that will go out in the morning. So you guys will be able to access this at your leisure. All right. Any other last minute questions from folks? I assume if it's a go with the DSCR route, then IO 10 years. Oh, interest only. Lucy?
What's that?
There was a question about, I assume if it's good with it to go the DSCR route, that it might be a 10-year interest only option.
We offer 30-year fixed, 5 and 7, but the interest rate is the same. We don't have a 10 years.
Okay. All right, there's a lot of really great questions here. Appreciate everybody's thoughtfulness. Again, we'll give it one last go around with questions, and if not, we will finish up and we'll send out, again, we'll find the list of the ESTA countries and include that with the follow-up emails that'll go out tomorrow. Okay, that is. Oh,
Thank you, everyone.
One to two, couple last ones snuck in. So Venezuelans residing in Venezuela can only do a DSCR with 60% LTV.
Yes, correct, for purchases. And the assets must be in another country, cannot be providing bank statements from Venezuela, must be for a different country.
And then the loan, the foreign national loans are available for all states.
Most of the states, I think we just need license in a few states, but yes.
Yeah, so we have a list of the states here.
Mhm.
Okay. Oops. One more question. If 2% of closing costs is being financed into the loan, what's the LTV?
65%.
Okay. All right. Any last more? All right. We're going to try to wrap up again. Going once, going twice. All right. No more questions. With that, we'll conclude today's webinar. Again, we'll be sending out follow-up emails to you folks tomorrow with recording links and the list of the ESTA countries. So with that, I again appreciate you taking time out of your schedules this afternoon to learn about foreign national loans. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.